What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode following the career of GM Neff here in NHL 25. We are here, but before we start, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments how you feel about this series, and I'm also thinking about a nations team build series. That being said, it would be a specific nationality based on what's in the NHL. Like, we would go a all German team. That would probably be my first try. So we would trade and create a German only team, draft only Germans, and see if we could build them into a cup contender. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments below. If you would like to see that, let me know. Let me hear about it. But jumping into what we're doing today, we are here in December 1st. We've simmed 2 months. We are 16-4-3, 35 points, looking to repeat as Stanley Cup champions. Swayman is otherworldly right now with a 944 save percentage and a 155 goals against average. We also have a very good AHL team once again. Our AHL team is 10-3-2 in 15 games played. They're performing real well. So both sides, the AHL and the NHL, both doing their thing right now. Now, the last time we left off, we did not discuss any of the player efficiency ratings or taking a look at what exactly is going on with this team. Specifically in the NHL, we'll also talk about the AHL a little bit, but specifically in the NHL. So let's do that. So the lines are Nikolai Ehlers, Hampus Lindholm, David Pastrnak, Matthew Patras, Pavel Zacha, Marek Kusnedinov. You got Adam Enstrom, who's filling in right now for Fraser Minton, who's injured. You got Dean Letourneau. You got Corey Walensky, Fabian Zetterlund, Ryan O'Reilly, and Brett Harrison. On defense, you got Maximus Warner, Charlie McAvoy, Sam Renzel, Artyom Vilchinsky, Sasha Bumadini, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk. I was going to say Travis Van Riemsdyk, but we got Trevor Van Riemsdyk. So those are the lines that we're dealing with right now. Obviously, you got Pasta in that. You got Swayman in that. So I wanted to also talk about who's performing well so far this season. And as you know, on this channel, we have our efficiency ratings. We have the offense, the defense, and the overall player efficiency. You can see our top NHL players right now. A little spoiler alert. You can see it in the right-hand side. Fabian Zetterlund with a 61-48 is leading the team. Elias Lindholm with a 60-64. David Pastrnak with a 56-42. Letourneau with a 52-08. And then Harrison with a 50.51. So let's take a closer look at that. So taking a closer look at that, you could see the breakdown here. And Fabian Zetterlund has been efficient offensively and defensively. As you can see, both rated at 61, giving him an overall rating of 61-48. Lindholm with a 60.64, 69 offense, 51 defense. You got Pastrnak, who's obviously a top tier offensive player with a 78-61. The defense is actually better than it's used to been. Usually he's in the low 20s, right now in the low 30s, so you get a 10-point increase there. Dean Letourneau, kind of like Zetterlund and Lindholm, just efficient offensively and defensively, which is perfect for that third line. And Brett Harrison is actually really efficient defensively, 53-11, and then an offensive rating of 47.9. Our top defender right now, Charlie McAvoy, 48.64, a 46 offense and a 50 defense on that rating. Marek Kusnedinov, who was the story of last season, our best player, has fell off a little bit. The defense has been lacking compared to last season, but he's still putting up good offensive numbers with a 67.83. Defense is down to 26.76. Take a look at Walensky. Very good offensive numbers. The defensive numbers are not there, but he's up in the 70s when it comes to offensive efficiency. Patras has been okay. Defense is lacking, but the offense is there. Same thing with Zacha. Defense isn't as good as you would like it to be, but the offense is pretty solid. Take a look at the other defensemen. You got Vilchinsky, who's got 11 on the offense, but a 59 defensively. Van Riemsdyk, who has been filling in for Pietrangelo. Pretty damn solid, a 746 and a 61 on defense. And then taking a look at Boumediene, the rookie, a 19.54 and a 46 defense. I'm surprised by that offensive number. I would expect more out of his offense. Kind of like where Renzel is. Renzel is a 41.02 offensively, but the defense is lacking a little bit. But he's more of an offensive defenseman. So these are your bottom guys right now. Pietrangelo is actually pretty bad, but he doesn't qualify because in my spreadsheet you got to have at least 10 games played, and he has have to have more than 10 games played. He has exactly 10 games played, so one more game and he'll be back up there, but his numbers weren't good. Gaudreau has been terrible, and that being said, the current replacement for him, Brett Harrison, during his injury, has taken full control of that left wing slot on line 4, and I don't think that's changed. We're going to keep Gaudreau as the bench guy, and then maybe he takes over for Ryan O'Reilly if this gets even worse. Right now that defense is terrible at a 10.91, but a pretty solid offense with the 50.87. So that being said, let's take a look at the normal numbers so you can get an idea of where these guys are points wise and things like that. So leading our team in points, you got David Pastrnak, who has 10 goals and 8 assists. Elias Lindholm's right behind him with 18 points as well. He's got 5 goals, 13 assists. You got Charlie McAvoy with 16 points. You got Matthew Patras with 15 points. Kusnedinov with 15. You got Zaga with 14. You got Renzel with 14 as well. So again, good scoring from the defense with both McAvoy and Renzel. Lindholm also has 12 himself. Ehlers kind of falling behind on that first line. The rest of the line got 18 points apiece. He's got 11. Dean Letourneau with 11 as well. Zetterlund has 10 on that fourth line. Mitten with 10 in the 23 games. So he's matched up with everybody else. He just got injured. So he has 10 points. You got Walensky with 9 in 23 games. Taking a look at the rookie skaters, Walensky will qualify with 9 points. He's there. Harrison's got 4. Boumediene's only got 2 points. You would like to see that number go up, especially with the type of player he is. Taking a look at the goalies. You got Swayman with a 944 and a 155. You got Riddick behind him with a 915 and a 204. So both goalies playing pretty good so far, and it's showing up in the record as we're sitting here with a 16-4-3 record. So we got 2 more months to sim through and figure out what we're going to do with this team, and if we're going to buy, if we're going to sell off some of these pieces. But before we start the sim, I got to talk about the AHL. Like I said, they're successful as well with a 10-3-2 record. But let's take a look at the player stats. You got Elton Hjermison, who is the first year player in the AHL. He's got 12 points in 15 games. You got Denisenko with 11. You got Thomas, Patrick Thomas with 11. You got Akil Thomas with 10. And Samuel Poulin with 10 as well. Robertson's got 9. Jeko's got 8. Rogowski, who's this is his first year in the AHL as well, he's got 8. And Bolyard with 7. So you got a few young guys, and Yermison and Rogowski up there in points. Take a look at the goalies. Skarik's got a 942 and a 126, and you got Bussy with a 912 and a 235. So the goalie's doing real well. It's kind of going hand in hand with both of these teams, the AHL and the NHL, overperforming right now. Going back to the AHL and the player efficiency, I just want to show you that real quick. So taking a look at the player efficiency, you could see Hjermison leading the team with a 63-54. Really good offense, solid defense. I mean, he might even make a play to push the lineup. You know, we might be able to move Zacha, we might be able to move Lindholm, but we're competing at this point. Would now probably be an off-season move, but if he continues to push, then, you know, we got to make a decision. Jekko with a 75-34 and a 33 defense, and then you got Robertson with a 78-18. So a lot of guys putting up offense. Look at Gentz, he's got an 82-72 right now. That is insane. He's leading the team with the 72 I mean, and then 82-72, and then you get the 1966, which is dragging him down a little bit, but he's been really good. The best defender on this side of things, you got looking at Kangas, who's got a 76-15. Wallenius has a 54-38, who we just acquired in a trade, and then Hjermison, of all people, right behind him with the 53-17. And taking a look at the NHL, We didn't talk too much about our offensive and defensive leaders, so I just wanted to do that. David Pastrnak with the 78-61, followed by Walensky with a 73-24. You got Elias Lindholm with a 69-91, Kustadinov with a 67-83, and Zetterlund with a 61-13, leading the team right now for the top 5. And then defensively, Zetterlund 61-83 is our best defender. Van Riemsdyk right behind him with the 61-23, Vilchinski with the 59-83, Letourneau 53-68, and then a 53-11 from Harrison. So that bottom 6 and also that bottom pair defense, the bottom 4 of the defenseman group, really leading the charge defensively, and that's kind of what you want out of those bottom pairs. They're supposed to get those ugly minutes and really make a game-changing shot block, or something like that, a game-changing turnover. So let's jump into the sim. Let's see how we do in these next 2 months. Hopefully we continue winning, and then we could put another Stanley Cup in our cabinet there. So we already got Alex Pietrangelo back a few games in, and it's gonna be tough, but I think we're gonna sit Van Riemsdyk. I think we're going to go back to Alex Pietrangelo, let him get back in the lineup. I want to see what he's got, because right now it hasn't looked great. We'll give him a little bit longer. If it continues to not look great, as we get a terrible trade that we're not taking, if it continues not to look great, then we'll go back to Travis Van Riemsdyk. We'll see what, the next 10 games provide. But Alex Pietrangelo is going to jump back into the lineup over Trevor Van Riemsdyk, not Travis Van Riemsdyk, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, and then potentially Trevor will take over if Alex Pietrangelo can't really get his game going. So some big news here. Brett Harrison's gonna miss at least a couple weeks with a sore shoulder, so that sucks for him. He's been playing really well, so that leaves us with the 4th line vacated on the left side. And for our options, we got Gaudreau, who we're going to put back in the lineup. But Brett Harrison, once he gets back, is going to take over for Barclay Gaudreau. But it also gives Barclay Gaudreau a chance to come back and, prove his worth, as Fraser Mitten is also available for his next game. So Enstrom's going to come out, and we're going to get Fraser Mitten back into the lineup. Oh, wrong guy. I hate the UI for NHL. It seems to be so laggy, and it's terrible. So another month down, and we got Hampus Lindholm back. Perfect timing. So we got to send somebody down, though, since Hampus Lindholm's back. I forgot who we called up for him. I think it was Warner. But based on how Trevor Van Riemsdyk was playing, we got a tough decision, because we're going to have to send somebody down, and they're going to have to go on waivers. If we send down Trevor Van Riemsdyk, he will go on waivers at this point. So we got to take a look at some of the stats before we make this decision and figure out who we're going to put on waivers at this point. We can't even put Pietrangelo on waivers because he's got the no movement clause. All right, so we could... Who do we got for forwards that could go on waivers? So everybody that is sent down is going to be in the waiver process. Ryan O'Reilly, Gaudreau, Harrison. So I'm in a tough spot where I'm gonna have to send somebody on waivers no matter what. Or I wonder if we could trade at this point. I don't think we can, because we can't even get out the window. I don't really want to send Max Warner down and have him get claimed, but then again, he's not a big part of this team. He played 14 games. He had 6 penalty minutes. He didn't get a point. He'd even get a plus or a minus. 17 giveaways, 5 takeaways. It wasn't great from him. Even though the overall for Trevor Van Riemsdyk is not there, he's been a lot better than most. He's got a +1, 3 points in 14 games, the same exact games, and he's better than Warner. And then we can't move Pietrangelo because he's got the no movement clause, so he's stuck. We could do Vilchinski or Bumadini, but we're not gonna do those two just because they're valuable at the left-handed defenseman spot, and we don't have any other left-handed defenseman. So Warner is gonna be the guy sent down, unfortunately, and he might get claimed, and that will suck. But it's the price of doing business there, and we're gonna take the better performer in that situation. We should have been prepared for this a little bit better, But Hampus Lindholm is back. He's going to go back to that first line, and hopefully they continue to have a good season. But speaking of, we're sitting here on a good season, 21-11-4, 46 points, just behind the Panthers in the Atlantic Division. Taking a look at our ranks, we're 11th for goals for. We are first for goals against. We are third in power play. We are 13th in penalty kill. And our team leader right now is David Pastrnak. Now, I want to before we get into the next sim, I want to take a look at the player efficiency as well to see where they are there. So after another month down in a sim, Elias Lindholm is leading the team with a player efficiency rating of 58.6, followed by Fabian Zetterlund, who took a step back with the 53-57. David Pastrnak's got a 50-17, a 43-84 for Kuznetsov, and Charlie McAvoy 42-89 to round up the top 5. You got Zacha there, Letourneau, both performing pretty well on that second and third line center position. Wolinski's performing well. Hampus Lindholm also performing well. It's nice to see him actually, contributing this season. I know last season was a rough one for him where we almost traded him. Matthew Patras contributing pretty well offensively with the 34.04 efficiency rating, but a 55 offense. Vilchinski doing his thing defensively, not going to contribute much offensively, but when it comes to defense, one of our best contributors. Taking a look at Boumadine, he's actually taken a step offensively, it looks like, with the 20.98, and also took a step up, which we could take a look at here in a second, which I'll show you. I have a couple of charts that kind of kept track month to month. You got Brett Harrison, who took a massive step back with 31.12, but still pretty efficient. Fraser Minton with 30.67. Renzel took a step back with a 30.29. And then your bottom of the barrel, you got Pietrangelo at the bottom, but he's actually taken a massive step forward compared to what he's been doing, which we'll show you. Ryan O'Reilly staying around the same thing. We need that defense to get a little bit better on the fourth line. And then you got Nikolai Ehlers, who is probably going to be one of the bigger storylines. Our first line left wing performing terribly. Even the offense is pretty bad. I don't know if I just changed something. Oh, I didn't. We'll go back here. That's a chart that I was going to bring up. Even the offense is pretty bad for Nikolai Ehlers. He's getting outpaced by most of the lineup offensively. I wonder where he is exactly offensively. So in rank, it puts him 4 forwards in the bottom 3. Harrison and Gaudreau's the only 2 with lower scores offensively. So he's not performing well at all. And we could look to see if there's a trade out there to get a better left wing, because we do have the cap space for it. Now, like I was saying, I wanted to take a look at the trend of some of these players, and I could break down the trend for each of these guys that are trending up and also trending down. And we'll point out a few players that, to keep an eye on moving forward. Now, one thing to point out with these trends is you're most likely going to see them going down. Like this right here is Fraser Minton. Month 1, he was up in 55. The red is offensive efficiency ratings, as you can see up top. The green is defensive, and then the blue is the overall player efficiency. As you can see, he's starting to trend down. Offense slowed down, so did the overall player efficiency, and even the defense slowed down. But you're going to see that with most cases. Most cases you're going to see them trend down. Some are trending upwards because they started the season so bad. And we'll go to somebody that's been trending upwards as of late, specifically with this month. Now, somebody that has trended upwards recently is Pietrangelo. See, as you can see with the defensive efficiency rating, it started at a 37.7, dropped to a 46, and then went up to 37.31. So it's more so even to where he was starting. And then his overall efficiency started at 17, went down to a 10, and now is up to 23. And the offense has just been trending upwards, period. So that's one guy that's been trending upwards, and that's huge for us, because if he's providing a solid base on that third line for the right hand side, I think that bodes well for our chances to potentially get another Stanley Cup. Somebody else that trended up, you got Elias Lindholm. That didn't start off phenomenal. He started off solid. Since then, since the first sim, month 2, he was up to a 69 offensively, 60 overall, and then a 51 defense. And he's kind of flattening out there with a 68 offense, 58 defense, and a 58. 58 player efficiency and a 48 defense. So it's nice to see him start to flatten out, and I think this is what you're going to see for the rest of the season. But like I said, you're seeing different trends from different players, and one of the main players to pay attention to moving forward is actually going to be the next one we're going to talk about. So this player at the end of the month is going to be a huge topic as we get closer to trade deadline. And now this is Nikolai Ehlers, a 24-36 to start, offensive, 20 overall, and 16 defense. And then he had a 41 offense, peaked in month 2 with a pretty solid offense. The overall efficiency was at a 31, and then defense was at a 21. Now his defense went up a little bit to a 22, so the defense has steadily inclined, but the player efficiency dropped to a 27, and the offense has dropped once again. And as a number 1 left wing, we can't have that. And we got other replacements for him, like in the mold of Kuznetsov, who's been pretty straightforward and pretty, efficient, and consistent in his play. So he's somebody that could take over on that left wing. Even if you want to go with Fraser Mitten, who I think has been pretty solid, obviously could be better, but not a great option. As you can see here, he's trended downward a little bit and kind of flattened out at a 40 rate of offense, play efficiency at 30, and then the defense at 21. Probably not the best option. We also got some options in the AHL, but right now we're gonna need a top 6 left wing at this point. The way either Ehlers moves in a trade, or he starts to perform well. This next month and the trend of his play is going to tell a lot on if we're going to keep him or not, or if we're going to trade him. But let's jump back into the sim and get through this month so we can figure out what we're going to do with some of these players. So one more month ago, before we wrap up this episode, we're sitting here at 21, 11, and 4, which is pretty damn good. I'm not too mad at that. Hopefully we could get the first place in the division. We don't have a President's Trophy so far in our tenure. That would be a nice thing if we could do that. Potentially, we'll have a trade or be willing to trade right after this month. I think it'll be a good time to really start thinking about that. So it's a huge storyline to see what's going to happen in that top 6, specifically with the left wing position, as Nikolai Ehlers is struggling. And we just lost Dean Letourneau, who's got a sprained MCL until next month. So we're out our number 3 center for a good amount of time. So that could be a big hit to this team. But that being said, while we're here, what we might do is take Gaudreau and move him to left wing, and we'll have Mitten play some center, and then Ehlers, we're going to have him drop to the second line left wing and put Kuznetsov on that first line and see if it sparks up something for Ehlers and we could get a positive trend upwards for him. We're going to go with Gaudreau, Mitten, and Welinski. We could also go with Enstrom if he provides actually a better plus, and he does, so we get a +1 from putting Enstrom on that third line. So that's what we'll go with, is Enstrom, Mitten, and Welinski, Harrison, O'Reilly, and Zetterlund to finish out the lineup. It's nice to see Welinski developing solid. He could potentially be a top 6 option for us, potentially on that left wing, if he continues to play well. But let's jump back into the sim and see how we do. We got a huge storyline in that top 6 to see if we, go out and buy at this point, because we are a cup contender. Another big injury, Sam Renzel's going to be gone for a little bit, so he's out of the lineup. But Trevor Van Riemsdyk has been really solid as that 7th defenseman. So we're not too upset by it. I do think with Van Riemsdyk and Vilchinski, you kind of get defense with defense. and it could not mesh well. We'll have to pay attention to that as we lose another game. You know, we're on a little bit of a slide right now, 4-5-1 in our last 10. Matthew Patras is going to go down until January 19th, which isn't a long time. He'll actually be back before you know it, but that's going to leave a hole on the right wing for a game or two. So we got to put Barclay Goodrow on that right wing. I don't want to mess with lines too much, so we'll have Goodrow hold that right wing for the next, it looks like 2, maybe 3 games. So the good news is we have both Renzel and Patras back for this Pittsburgh game. Hopefully they stay healthy, because usually there it is, you play them and then they re-injure what they injured in the past. So he'll be out for a couple more weeks with a pulled groin. And we also lost Kuznetsov. So not only do we lose Patras, we lost Kuznetsov as well. So now we got a couple questions that we got to answer. So we got to go to roster moves and figure out who we're going to call up to assist this team in the system. Do we call up somebody we know that's not going to get claimed on waivers, like Yermison? He is at 82 overall right now. He's performing really well in the AHL. I kind of don't want to call him up just because I don't want to hinder any of his development so far. So I think we're going to wait on him. I think we could risk calling up Merkulov and Thomas. Definitely, you know, have them come up. I know Thomas doesn't play right wing or left wing. Maybe Poulin would be more of an option. So let's call him up. I think that's all we'll have to call up. And we could go back and edit lines. So what we'll do is we'll put Poulin on that right wing, opposite Zaka and Ehlers, because he could play left and right wing. What I'm going to do is move Enstrom up, and then I'm going to put Goodrow as the third line left wing, because I liked Enstrom as a top 6 left wing for a little bit, because he was actually pretty solid in that role. I don't know why, he just played well offensively. So we'll put him up there, see how it goes. And it won't be for long, because Patras is not going to be out that long, but we will be more tentative when he does come back on putting him back in the lineup so soon, because we just saw what happens when that happens. And we win a couple straight, which is huge. Can't get mad at that. 3 straight, I love it. And Murat Kuznetsov is back, which we'll give him a second before we put him back in the lineup. We'll let him come back against Winnipeg. And don't need to rush him back and get him injured again. So we'll let him sit that last one. We won't put Patras in yet. We will move Goodrow out and get Kuznetsov back in the lineup. He's still a little, you know, shaken up. So hopefully he doesn't get re-injured in this game. And we get a 6-0 win. You like to see that. So Di Letourneau is also back. So that being said, Poulin's going to get sent down. No reason to keep him up. He did his job in a short period of time. Lost a little morale from being sent down, but hey man, we just need you for a little bit. Now we can put Patras back in his spot. He's fully healthy, so we don't have to worry about him pulling his groin again. And we'll give Letourneau at least one more game before we fully call him back, which will actually bring us to the next month. And Riddick is going to be out until March 13th with a broken wrist. So we're going to have to go out there and sign a goalie. That's for sure. Skarek could come up. He's been really good in the AHL. But we're going to have to go out and get a goalie now. So Skarek in as the backup. We're losing Riddick until March 14th. So he'll be out for a while. We do get back Letourneau, so we could get him back in the lineup. Starting to get healthier on the offense. It sucks that we lost our goalie. We might have to try to buy a backup goalie at this point. And we might have to try to sign somebody in free agency. Let's see what we have in free agency. See if there's anything decent out there for goalies. You got Fleury still kicking around. Somehow he's still alive. But nothing as far as goalies that we want to go out and get. So we could just sign somebody just to put them in the AHL. Because right now we're only rocking one goalie. could go with Carl Lindblom. Go ahead and offer him a contract. So he joins the club. Well, he's in the NHL. I don't know why we should have signed him as the AHL squad. I'll have to go through waivers, I think. So we're sitting here at the end of the month. We are, as I try to get to the record, we are 29, 16, and 7, 65 points. We are tied for first place. We did have a terrible month. We had a really bad month. Right now we are 8th in scoring, goals for, 2nd in goals against. We're 3rd in power play. We're 3rd in penalty kill. And we got to take a look at Ehlers. We got to take a look at that top 6 left wing position. Is Kustendinov playing well in that role? Is he helping out the squad right now? Do we have to trade Ehlers to try to get somebody better? Ehlers in a prospect and maybe get a top 6, whirlwind type of left winger. A bunch of options. I don't know. We have to take a look at what he has for a contract, because if Ehlers' contract is a pain to move, that adds a whole aspect, but he has no clause whatsoever, so that helps us tremendously, where we can trade him for pretty much anything, get a piece back. We do have a lot of questions when it comes to this team. Charlie McAvoy is going to be up after the next year. That's going to be a big contract that we're going to have to think about. We could move Pavel Zacha at some point. Elias Lindholm is on a modified, actually on a full no movement clause, so he's stuck with us. I don't know when does his contract actually stop the no movement clause. That's going to be huge for us, because at the last year of his deal, and he's already regressing. He's at 85 overall, so we're stuck with him. The only chance we have is trying to convince him to waive. Zacha, not regressing yet. Potentially could move, but I think both have performed pretty well. I don't think there's any reason to move them right now, but that's something we have to think of, because we got guys like Dean Letourneau, who's a RFA. We're gonna have to sign him. We got Dean Letourneau. We also got Walensky, who's gonna try to get into that top 6 as well. Right now it's Pasta, who's not moving, and then Patra's blocking him, and Patra's could definitely be a trade piece next season to make some space for Walensky in that top 6. And then we also got in our system Hjermison, who is progressing real nicely and should crack the top 6 sooner rather than later, before his ELC is up, which is in 3 years. So we got a bunch of things that we got to think about, mainly that left wing. And if Ehlers hasn't really performed this month, which we'll obviously do off air, the whole player efficiency, and when we pick up the next episode, we'll talk about that storyline. But right now, 29, 16, and 7, we are in a spot to potentially run it back as Stanley Cup champions, and hopefully we can. But that's gonna do it for this one, and if you're enjoying the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. My name's Nefarious, and I'm out of here.